Assalamualaikum, my name is Karima Surah binti Abdul Hadi from EC1104E. Apparently, all civil engineering semester 4 students are required to produce videos on how we conduct experiments. The experiments are particle density, permeability test, particle size and grading, field density test, and moisture content test. We don't have the exact same tool for us to conduct these experiments. Hence, I have improvised few tools for me to conduct experiments. So let's check it out on how do I conduct this experiment.
Soil, steel container, gloves, weighing balance. First, we need to weigh the mass of steel container. Next, we pour the soil onto the steel container and spread it evenly. And weigh the mass of the steel container and the soil. The same step are repeated for another 2 steel container. Next, we left the soil and the steel container to be dry for a whole day. The dry soil is then to be weighed. Steps are repeated for another 2 container and all the data are recorded. Soil, weighing balance, bottles, syringe, spatula, and water. Next, we mark all the bottles with sample number 1, number 2 and number 3. After that, every empty bottle are then recorded its weight and all the data of every bottle are recorded. Next, about 150 to 200 grams of soil are added to every sample of the bottle.
The steps are then repeated for another 2 bottles. Next, every bottle that have salt in it will be weighed and the weight of the bottle and the soil will be recorded. Pour some water in the bottle to make sure that all the soil are fully soaked and leave it for around 10 to 30 minutes. After the soil fully soaks, fill the bottle full with water and record the mass of the soaked soil and the bottle. Next, fill the empty bottle full with water and record the mass of the bottle and water. Soil, weighing scale, spatula, container, and sieve. Weigh the mass of empty container and record it. Next, pour 100 to 200 gram of soil onto the container. All the mass of every segment of sieve are then recorded. Next, pour the soil into the sieve container. After that, let the container shake for around 5 to 10 minutes. Next, every mass of soil retained in every segment of the sieve are weighed and all the mass of the sieve are then recorded. Weighing balance, cylinder, metal tray, soil and excavator. Put the metal tray on a flat surface and excavate all the soil in the hole using the excavator. All the soil retained on the metal tray are weighed and the mass of the soil retained on the metal tray are recorded. Next, measure the depth of the hole. Next, fill the separate cylinder with sand and record the weight of the separate cylinder and the sand. Next, place the separate cylinder on the excavated hole and pull out the shutter of the cylinder to make sure that the sand are allowed to flow through the cylinder. Then recorded the mass of the sand retained in the separate cylinder. Soil, weighing balance, marker, bottle that have drill hole in the bottom, container, and also water. Next, mark every bottle with number 1, 2 and 3 and also mark H1, H2, H3 and H4 for every bottle. Next, measure the diameter of the bottle and also the height of the bottle. Next, pour around 100 to 200 gram of soil in every bottle and weight the record of every mass of the soil and the bottle. The steps are then repeated for another 2 bottles. Every mass of the soil and the bottle are weighed and recorded. Next, pour the water into the bottle and the steps are repeated for another 2 bottles. Leave it for a while to make sure that all the soil are fully soaked, and the steps are repeated for another 2 bottles. Next, the height of the fully soaked soil are then to be measured. Same for another 2 samples of bottle. Fill the bottle fully with water, and once the water level reach H1, start and record the time taken for the water level from H1 to H2, H2 to H3, H3 to H4 using stopwatch. The steps are repeated for another 2 bottles, and all the data taken in this experiment are then recorded.